All right, thanks, buddy. Sorry, I didn't even hear Thomas over there, but I do hear you, and I think everybody hears the sound of your bat. 3 hits today. You got 2 RBIs in that last inning. How great was it working for you today in Game 2?
I think it was just about having a good approach at the plate, spoiling good pitches and disadvantage counts, and just hitting the ball hard.
Hey, you guys got no hit in Game 1. You come back and put an 8 spot up on this squad in Game 2. How big is that, and how much does that tell you about the Firebirds?
That's huge. They threw 4 lefties at us today, so I feel like by the end we kind of, they were all around the same velo and had around the same 3 pitch mix stuff. So, it's just about adjusting, and we eventually got there.
I know you don't know much about this, but there was 3 home runs tonight. I know you're not much of an extra base hitter. You like to watch them. It was fun to watch, huh?
Yeah, no, 3 in the same inning. Rob, Shay, and who was the last one?
Rob Shay and Josh Zamora were fantastic.
That's right.
Josh Zamora is going to be on the broadcast in just a little bit. He was fantastic. The entire Firebirds crew in Game 2 were amazing. What can you tell me about them?
No, it's just an unbelievable transformation from Game 1 to Game 2, and I like our chances moving forward into the end of the season and the playoffs.
We're really looking forward to it. Congratulations to you. 3 hits, a phenomenal day, as always, unsurprisingly. But Max Troiani, and you kicked off the start of the postgame show here on Bird's Eye View.
Thank you. Oh, I feel honored.
The birds are hot, huh?
The birds are so hot.
Hey, thanks so much, guys. We'll send it back to you. We got a whole fun time coming up on the Bird's Eye View postgame show here.
And thank you, Scotty, here alongside Josh Zamora on the Birds Broadcast Network on the Bird's Eye View post-game show. Josh, thanks for joining me here.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me.
Now, it's Scotty and Max were talking about kind of the difference between Game 1 and Game 2. Obviously, Jacob Polish was just fantastic on the mound for the Mariners, and you came in late in that ball game as well. Obviously, it's a doubleheader. It's not a quick turnaround. What's the mentality like trying to go in from Game 1 to Game 2? It's literally a quick reset.
Yeah, and just like it is any baseball game, you got to have a short-term memory. Always got to know that you're going to get more at-bats and more opportunities.
And you took part of those opportunities today. A couple big things going on. They talked about the home run parade that happened, and you got things going in that 6th-run third inning. You guys batted around a well-worked AB by Ada McCabe. Then you come up to the dish, and you get back in the home run column. How'd that feel running around the bases?
And it felt amazing. And, that's all the game's about is piecing at-bats together with the team and coming out on top.
And then you even helped the Firebirds later lay down a key sacrifice bunt. We always see you guys out here practicing bunting. Kelly Nicholson preaches it and preaches it and preaches it. And then you can see it in game time, real time. It's a tough situation. Runners on first and second, nobody down. You have to get the bunt down. And I know sometimes you hear crap about sometimes. You go all the way down to a squat almost and get the bunt down. How nerve-wracking is it out there a little bit, knowing that you're going to get a bunt down, or if you don't get the bunt down, how does it feel in the batter's box?
Yeah, it's not really nerve-wracking because back at school we practice bunting just about every day. My head coach, TJ Bruce, is amazing at that. Teaches bunting the right way, and always get it done.
Well, it's definitely, if I was in your situation, I don't know if I could get that bunt down for sure. I'm a lefty, so it's a totally different. But Josh, thanks for joining me on the Birds Broadcast Network. Good luck the rest of the way.
Thank you.
Again, that was Josh Zamora joining myself here on the Birds Broadcast Network. And now it looks like Scotty Gange. Scotty Gange is set here on the Birds Eye View postgame with Rob Emery. Scott.
Thomas, thank you, buddy. Appreciate it here with Rob Emery. One of the 3 Firebirds hit the home run today, and you hit the longest home run. Let's take you back to that moment. The hit off the barrel, how great did that feel?
Oh, it felt great. Anytime you can get a ball into that gap, get the barrel to it, that's what I do. That's my approach, so it felt good to finally execute that.
Seems like in the past week the offensive scheme for you has just changed dramatically. You've been all over the ball. Has there been any changes that you've done, or is that just how baseball is sometimes?
That's how baseball is sometimes, definitely. But coming back from I had that little ankle, get back, and then just getting more comfortable in the box. With my timing and just picking the ball up really well. So.
I know you're a modest guy, so you won't tell us that you went up to New Hampshire the other day to get some batting work in, to improve your swing and all that, and it showed tonight. How much has your work in the past couple of days helped you on the field?
I feel good. So off day, just got some work in, and it's clicked for me, so just trying to stay with it.
Your home run today, it caused some controversy. You just told me that. It was your former coach on the Harwich Mariners. How fun was that for you to get the home run off a guy that you used to play with?
I mean, I love playing against Harwich. You know, they do it right. You know, they're always a great team to play against. I love competing against those guys, and it's always a fun time. So I'm not going to say I enjoyed getting them worked up, but it felt nice to win one this summer against just to get one back from. I'm not going to say the officiating has been great or bad, but it felt nice to win one.
Yeah, it really was. It was a fantastic shot, and I know it was nice to round third and go home on that home run for you. The Firebirds, the no-hitter in Game 1 today, how big was it to get the 8-run spot, 3 home runs in Game 2 for the Firebirds?
Yeah, I mean, it felt great to give Schuster some run support. He made a couple bad pitches, but was sharp, you know, mostly throughout. But yeah, it was good to get some run support and get one back after we kind of went dead there with that no-hitter. So.
Well, it said a lot about the Firebirds, said a lot about you today. Fantastic job today on the home run and behind the plate, too. Rob, Emery, thank you so much for the time. Thomas, we'll send it back to you. We've got more of the Bird's Eye View post-game show coming up right after this.
And thank you, Scotty. Yes, it was a fun-filled evening for the Firebirds in Game 2. Again, Game 1, Firebirds, unfortunately, were defeated by the Harwich Mariners 2-0. Jacob Polish pitched a 7-inning no-hitter in that ball game. And then the Birds come back with a 6-run third inning after trailing 2-0. Again, it seems like that was the MO for most of these ball games against the Mariners this year. Fall behind early, come back with some big innings, and they did that here today against the Harwich Mariners. Just to take a quick look ahead here at the Orleans Firebirds. They will be back here tomorrow night against the Falmouth Commodores, the red-hot Falmouth Commodores. They have been on a tear, winning today. Back-to-back home games. A little home against the Commodores Thursday at 7, Friday at 7 before the Firebirds will take the trek down Route 137 to Stony Brook Field for another doubleheader. And by the way, for those of you who have not heard, will be a doubleheader for the Firebirds. Next Tuesday will be a 2 o'clock game in Harwich and then a 7 o'clock game home against Chatham. So that's the way that it has come out on the schedule. It's just an awful, awful summer for weather. If you're a weatherman this summer, it's going to be hard to predict the weather that's going on out here. And just to take a look at some of the other highlights, Eddie McCabe collecting 2 base knocks as well, 2 for 3 with 2 runs. Really, Ken Wilkinson praising with that AB that he had in that third inning. It really got things going, and it definitely was. And McCabe has put together some nice ABs over the last 3 or 4 games or so, since just before the All-Star break. Max Troiani, who was the bird baller of the game, 3 for 4, 3 RBIs and a run. Those 2 RBIs, 2 out of 3 coming in that 6th inning. Big insurance runs for the Firebirds. Nick Garcia, again, pitching an inning nicely done there. Jared 4 strong on the hill for the Birds, gave the Firebirds a start. I mean, you could shout everybody for something they did today. Herbie's collecting the base hit, Emery with the home run. Dan Murray collecting the base hit as well. Again, these are the Firebirds that, if this middle part of the lineup and the latter part of this lineup can get things going, it's going to be tough for the Firebirds to beat. Again, if a guy like McCabe, Emery, Murray, even Zamora, and Whitcomb starting to put things together here for the Firebirds in this lineup. And now Scotty Gange is joined alongside Shay Whitcomb. So we're going to send it behind the dish to Scotty Gange.
Thank you, Thomas, here with Shay Whitcomb. Another one of the Firebirds who hit a home run today. Let's start right there. Just, as you said, snuck over the fence at the 300 mark. How great was that? And what a sigh of relief it was for you when it went over the plate, huh?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah, I saw it curving a little bit. I wasn't sure if it was deep enough, and it just snuck right in the corner. So.
Hey, something about you that I've noticed. You made your way around the 4 bases in under 9 seconds, it seemed like. You were burning. Why was that?
Well, it's actually a funny story, but back at UC San Diego, we had a guy who jogged around the bases, and our coach kind of got on him a little bit. So from then on, all our players, every time we hit a home run, we just sprint around the bases. So it just kind of stuck.
Really? So it's not like an adrenaline thing. Like that's something that the team does.
Yeah, it's something that the team does. It's kind of funny.
Yeah. Did it start as a joke, or is that kind of a respect thing, or a little both?
It started as a joke, but I mean, if you guys are noticing it, maybe I should slow it down. do what Zamora did today.
Zamora, he enjoyed his jog out there. I know you enjoyed it too, just a little faster. It was fun to watch for sure. But hey, the Firebirds, I mean, you and Zamora both hit a home run. Rob hit another one. 8 runs after you guys were no-hit in Game 1. What does that tell you about the Orleans squad?
Oh, I don't know. I don't want to say streaky, but
I say resilient.
I say that too. So yeah, we'll see. Game 1 was a little tough. I don't know what was going on, but we seemed to figure out the kinks around Game 2, and that hasn't been like us. We were kind of a little bit out of character. So I think resilient is the right word.
And of course, sometimes you just got to tip your cap to a guy like Polish, who was totally, on his game in Game 1 today. But, just like you said with UCSD, you have a lot of fun playing baseball with those guys. I can see it from outside the yard that you have a lot of fun playing with all these guys in the infield, when you're in the dugout and all that. How much fun are you having this summer?
I'm having a blast. I love it. All the guys are awesome, and couldn't have wished for a better squad.
Congratulations to you today, a big-time home run, big-time win for the Firebirds off the bat of this guy. Thank you so much. We're going to send it back to Thomas, and then we're going to close out the Bird's Eye View postgame show. Hey, everybody, welcome back. We've had a little bit of technical difficulties, but somebody who doesn't have a difficulty at all, this guy right here, Tyler Henry, a fantastic, fantastic broadcaster person, and we had to boot things back up to get him on. Tyler, thanks so much for the time. This is round 2 in the Bird's Eye View postgame show.
Yes, it is. And coming off of a slightly different tone of this game. Hey, I told you there'd be fireworks in Game 2, did I not?
In the Bird's Eye show after Game 1, there's going to be fireworks. There was 3 of them exactly. Rob Emery, Shay Whitcomb, Josh Zamora, 3 deep flies. I know the Rob Emery home run was a bit of controversy on the Harwich side, huh?
Yeah, and really, I mean, from our angle, we couldn't really see 100% what exactly happened. We know the ball ended up back on the field of play after the ball was hit, and I didn't hear anything resembling metal bleachers out there, but always a tough call to make as an umpire. They conferenced, and I will say a little bit of a tough day from the officiating crew overall, but that's one call that I personally agreed with. I think that ball did end up getting out, and they give a home run. Ultimately, it comes away as a 5-run win for the Orleans Firebirds, so 1 home run doesn't make that big of a difference, but just one of those days for Harwich, at least in the second game, in terms of just very, very, very frustrating way to lose a ball game, and hopefully that doesn't translate into tomorrow's game with Katuitt.
And you have to think the frustration was much greater just because that was the back half of the 6-run inning. You got to think that has a bit of pieces into it as well, and the fact that the Firebirds were hitting the ball, and that one was so far, and Eldridge Park is such a big dimension, so it really was hard to see. But how about the Firebirds just in general? I mean, they come back after getting no hit in Game 1, score 8 runs, get a big-time win here at Eldridge.
Yeah, I mean, they saved up all the offense for the second game, apparently. They just kind of went with it. They were like, hey, we're just going to hold off on scoring in the first game, and then we'll come back and drop 8 in the second. So, yeah, I mean, another day where they come through it. And, again, 1 through 9, it's a very productive day for the offense, but still kind of inconsistent. And that's the biggest thing with this Orleans team. No one really knows which Firebird squad you're going to see. Are you going to see the team that comes in and gets no hit, or are you going to see the team that comes in and drops 8 runs? And that's part of what led to the 5-run winning / 5-game losing streak for you guys earlier this year. So, I mean, who knows what team we'll see come playoff time, but that does make them very scary, because if you get the right Firebirds team enough days in a row, that's a team that can make some serious noise in the postseason if they make it, which they're on pace to do.
I really couldn't agree more. It's, as you said, it's a team that has shown they can be very scary, and they can be the best team on the Cape when they are the best team on the Cape, as simple as that. For Harwich's side, I mean, it was a really good day. I mean, despite a couple home runs in Game 2, the pitching staff looked great. The offense was solid today. They got the 2 runs that they needed in Game 1. They got 3 runs in Game 2. They had the 2-run lead heading into the 3rd inning. What positive takeaways can you take from Game 2 for Harwich?
I think it's got to be the guys, Chris Galland and Chris Lanzilli, 2 guys that came into this game without a single home run, and both of them come out with 1. And we know these are guys that can put some power numbers up, more so Lanzilli than Galland. Galland's more of a contact hitter. But for Chris Lanzilli, man, he has been so close so many times. And the game where he finally broke through was when Harwich put up an 11 spot on Katuitt. That game then gets washed out and doesn't count. So he loses all those numbers, stumbles a little bit, but he's putting it together, and I feel like the home run today was a big boost for him. He had another hitter in addition to that. So really just seeing all these guys again late in the year, guys like Dylan Noisy, Chris Lanzilli, putting it together. This Harwich team could be very dangerous because they've had the pitching all year long, but now the offense is starting to click alongside it. And oh boy, we've seen some really, really good games to some of the top teams in the East.
I really do love that about the Eastern Division. It's anybody's division when you break it down. But right now, it's time for you to go home. You've had a long day here. He's got to make his way back to Harwich. Tyler Henry, thank you so much for the time, man. Really do appreciate it. You're going to go swap out with Alec Henden, the good old switcheroo. Thank you so much. Tyler, I'll see you around, bud. All right, buddy. Hey, that's Tyler Henry, broadcaster for the Harwich Mariners. He's fantastic. And it was really just so cool to hear from the Harwich side. And now we're going to hear from the Orleans Firebirds side. Oh, you look way too happy to be. I'm just kidding.
I just made a great catch.
You did? Okay, not a baby.
Me and Zinz are playing a little over-the-screen catch. We were having fun.
We're having fun. Well, I hope we can have some fun here. Jamie Quinn is going to come on, and if he does come on while you're still here, we're going to do a 1-2 switcheroo if that sounds good with you.
I love switcheroos. Let's make it happen, man.
We're going to make it happen, but for now, we're going to talk some Orleans baseball because 8-3 win in Game 2. That was fun to see. From the writer's perspective, I know you just talked with a number of guys on the team. What can you take away?
Well, it was just a big win. Obviously, you lose the first game. It was quote unquote a game at home. You don't get any hits. You don't score any runs. It's just not fun. You want to wash that one away as soon as possible. 6-run inning. That'll do a good job to do that.
That'll be something.
three home runs. It's really impressive offensive showing for the Firebirds. Talking to some of the hitters, they mentioned they saw 3 lefties tonight, and they all were kind of similar. Low 90s, good breaking balls, and you only see that for so long, and you realize, okay, let's make an adjustment, and they made an obvious adjustment. Josh Zamora, big home run. Shay Whitcomb, big home run. Rob Emery, a little opposite field power. That was impressive. But to me, the play that I thought stood out most in Game 2, and I talked to him earlier, and you talked to him earlier, Max Troiani made a tremendous diving play with 2 outs and 2 runners on in I believe, the top of the 3rd inning. It saved the Firebirds a couple runs, and it just brought momentum in the dugout. Right. And what happens, Eddie McCabe leads off with a base hit, and then they just get rolling from there, and they take the lead that they don't relinquish the rest of the way. Bullpen was solid. Overall, pretty good doubleheader. You'll take a split, and then against a good team, a team that's chasing you, and you want to make sure they're as far away as possible in the standings.
Hey, a couple of notes in those standings. Chatham lost to YD 5-0, and Brewster, they beat Falmouth 3-0. So the Brewster Whitecaps, that's the most notable game, and the one you have to watch is the Brewster Whitecaps. They're in last place right now, and the Harwich Mariners are still in 4th, now 2.5 games behind the Orleans Firebirds. The Firebirds still in 3rd place, but that 3-0 win against Falmouth, that's big time for Brewster. But let's stay on the Firebirds here because it was fun to watch today, and you just mentioned the fact that Troiani got that fantastic diving grab, and then Eddie McCabe comes back, works a great count, and finds his way on base to start off the bottom of the 3rd. That at-bat seemed to me one of the biggest at-bats of the game today.
Absolutely. Even in the first game, he was one of the 2 guys that reached base on a walk. He was really grinding out at-bats, scored 2 important runs, but you got to start somewhere. And with a leadoff base hit, me and Bryce were talking about it. Our producer, he does a tremendous job, Bryce Johnson. He was talking about how you just need to get runners on base to lead off innings. Leadoff runners tend to score more than just guys getting on with 1 or 2 outs. So it was big to build the inning early. And then Josh Zamora comes out of the 9-hole and just absolutely launches one over the left field wall. And it's important to see guys who don't get a ton of at-bats be able to contribute early and just tie up the game, and then the offense went rolling from there. And it was just impressive to see across the board, Scotty.
Speaking of impressive offense, we've got our guy Jamie Quinn, who's going to make his way over here when he can. We're ready for you whenever. Oh yeah, we're going to do the 1-2 switcheroo. Alec Henden, team writer, thanks so much for the time as always.
I love being on the Birds Broadcast Network. This is awesome.
Here on the Birds Broadcast Network, Bird's Eye View postgame show. We're rolling. This is the whole. It's the one-man operation here. We got Bryce Johnson, our fantastic producer. He's running the camera up top. We've got this guy. Hey, 8 runs in Game 2 after getting no hit in Game 1. That must be just awesome to see from a coach's standpoint.
Well, yeah. I mean, you get no hit. I mean, that's not fun. But it's all about the bounce. I mean, the hardest thing to do in baseball is to sweep a doubleheader. So we took our lumps in Game 1, got no hit. Guys had better, more competitive at bats in Game 2. We're swinging at better pitches, had better pitch selection and recognition, and we got a couple barrels on some balls for some homers, so that kind of helped.
I know for a lot of times when baseball games, it's kind of just everybody keeps to themselves. But was there a message you sent to the team or anybody after Game 1 at all going into Game 2?
Not really. It's very much like professional baseball up here. We have another game. We have 16 games in 12 days to end the year. It's just another game. Hey, let's flush it. Let's move on. Got to get on the field work, and we have a whole new day 40 minutes after Game 1 ended. So that's kind of like, there was no message. We don't bring it in or anything. It's just, hey, new day, flip the switch, and let's go.
You guys definitely did flip the switch. I mean, 3 home runs in the 3rd inning alone. How cool is that for you to see 3 home runs in 1 inning?
It was good. It was good to see guys having some good at-bats, seeing their early work paying off, and barreling some balls off. And that makes my job a little easier down there. I don't have to feel like I need to put things on because we were very flat with the bats in Game 1 to get things going. Guys just, barreled up some good pitches, some fastballs, and some fastball counts, and they were ready for it. And some of those balls went a far away, so we'll take it.
I was joking with Shay Whitcomb and the fact that he made his way around all 4 bases in about 9 seconds. The guy was burning his way around there. Josh Zamora took his time, and Rob Emery was just kind of right in the middle just because of the fact that it was kind of controversial. He had to stop at second. But I'm wondering for you as a third base coach, who'd you have the best high-five connection with as they were rounding third base?
High-five connection. It's usually Emery. I put my fist out there, and he hammers the fist like a hammer. So it's usually him. He hits me a little hard, but I'll take the lumps as long as we get a W,
Hey, in the last inning when Troiani got that single through the 5-5 hole, it scored 2. You were working Eddie McCabe to get home. Is there a way that you kind of plan that out and try to get them to go faster or anything like that?
Not really get them to go faster. We just try to get them to have a good a good lead at second without, 2 outs, you're in scoring position. We don't want you to get picked, but you need to have a good enough secondary where if it's a 50-50 call that I can send you. And I always tell the guys, just give me effort. When they're coming to me, give me effort. If they're not giving the effort, then it makes my job even difficult to send or to hold. But that ball was a grass dirt ball. It was a grass read, and those are about 95% safe. So anytime we have that read on a ball, it could be Eddie, or a slower player, and we're going to take the risk and the chance with 2 outs, we're sending them.
Hey, if you could pick one thing tonight in terms of the most memorable thing from today's game, what would it be?
Not really, nothing memorable, man. I think that it's part of the game. We got it there's a game every day. It's a new day tomorrow. So when we wake up, we have the flush tonight. Nothing too memorable. I think that the guys had better at bats, and what we started talking in the dugout in like the 6th or 7th inning of game 1 is like, hey, let's get momentum. Let's go momentum. Not for necessarily game 1, but get momentum to split a doubleheader and get going in game 2.
Really was a monsoon-like offense today, and you guys kind of waited about the first 8 or 9 innings, and then you just absolutely exploded for 8 runs in the last 4 or 5 innings of the day. What was the message from Coach postgame?
Where dinner is. Basically, that's about it. Where dinner is, clinic guys. Just good job. Like we said, the hardest thing to do in baseball is split a doubleheader. So when you do get to sweep a doubleheader, it's very rewarding. And when you're on the other side of it, when game 2 comes around, you really need to get that split. So,
Coach Koo, you have fun today?
We had some fun today. Yeah, anytime in Orleans, we have fun.
Hey, I had fun too. Thanks so much for the time.
Scotty G, pleasure, man. Anytime.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hey, that's going to wrap up the end of the Bird's Eye View post-game show. Appreciate Jamie Quinn just coming in here, Alec Henden, Tyler Henry, Shay Whitcomb, Josh Zamora, who's over there, Max Troiani, everybody that made this broadcast, this fun broadcast. For me, I'm Scotty Gange. We're signing off here on the name of Bryce Johnson, our producer, our 2 broadcasters, Thomas Zinzarella and Josh White, and everybody in the Birds Broadcast Network. Hey, we'll see you tomorrow because, yes, there is a game tomorrow here at Eldridge Park.